We're here with Chris Lyle, the CEO and founder of Law Hustle, and we're talking about how attorneys and practice owners, sometimes maybe they work too hard and they're addicted to the hustle. Chris, do you think that today, in today's day and age, that for an attorney to be successful, they just have to hustle and work themselves to death?
Absolutely not. I think that's the old firm way of you come in, you're expected to bill a certain amount of hours and you're expected to hit that number and you just work yourself to death to make sure you make that work. I think it's 100% a myth. I think, we went to law school to be professionals, but we also didn't go to law school to sign our life away to being able to have time with our family and our friends and do things we want to do in life versus just practicing law 24/7. So.
Yeah. So there's probably the old habits die hard, right? So people fall into the pattern of just working harder. How can how can attorneys work smarter in today's day and age?
Honestly, I've heard this. I'm not going to credit myself for this, but I've heard this from other people, and it's kind of starting to resonate with me. And I wish I would have done this from the very beginning when I started my own firm. Like when I went in and started a firm, I had this impression that it needed to be a certain way because that's what we're used to or we're exposed to as attorneys is you work hard, you work late, you work on the weekends, you get as much billable hours as you can. But in reality, I heard this concept from somebody else, and I'm not going to give anybody credit for it, but when you're building a practice, you should build it around what you want your lifestyle to be. If you want to spend time with your kids from 10 to 1, or you want to spend time or you want to be able to take your kids to school in the morning or do the things you want to do with your kids, you should build your practice around the things that you want to do in life. If you want to spend more time with your family and friends, you should build a practice around that, right? Where you only see clients during the middle of the day when your kids are at school, or you schedule your court hearings for Thursday, Friday, or whatever that happens. Sometimes we don't have control over these things, but if you design your practice around what you want your ideal lifestyle to be, I think you're going to achieve a much greater success because then you have the enjoyable life that you want, plus you have the practice you want because you built it around what your lifestyle is. It's not this, I'm going to go to court Monday through Friday and I'm going to work myself to death and hope that I make it to my kid's baseball game. I'm going to hope that I make it to my kid's soccer game that at the end of the day. You don't want that. You're like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be front and center, and I'm going to watch my son's soccer game or baseball game. And that there's nothing you can be in your calendar because you design your business around that. So yeah. I'm not going to, I heard that from somebody else, and I'm not going to give myself credit for that. But that concept is mind blowing to
huge. Me. I think it's interesting how somebody can start to open their practice and they'll hire an architect and do all the tenant improvement and design the physical practice the way that they want it. But they forget that they should also design the style of practice, the culture of the practice, the day-to-day of the practice around the life that they want. And so I think that's a really powerful reminder that you're in charge of designing what it is that you want, how you want to be able to practice. What are some common pitfalls as people are trying to be more mindful that pull them back into bad habits?
I am a culprit of this myself. I find it very, very difficult to delegate. And it may sound weird to everybody here that I sometimes feel like I can do something faster myself rather than be able to delegate it. But the fact of the matter is that I've realized over the past year or two after getting an executive assistant and giving them these things on their plate and showing them how to do it, that the relief on my plate of not having to do everything is much better. The fact that I don't have to look at my emails all day long and I have somebody combing my emails for me, and I only have to look at the ones that are most important to me, allow me to focus on the things that I need to get done. I need to do this project for Law Hustle. I need to do this project for the firm. I need to do this or that. It gives you the freedom to do it. So the biggest thing is being able to embrace the fact that you should be delegating your work that doesn't need to be done by you. Your top level strategy, rolling out the legal plan for a client, not I need to file the paperwork with the court or whatever it is. So that's one of the biggest things that I still struggle with to this day. On a daily basis, I struggle with delegating stuff to other people. But if you can find a happy medium to where you're delegating the things that you don't necessarily have to do to somebody else, you can grow into a much bigger role at your firm and, you know, have a much bigger impact with your firm as well, right? Because you have a team around you that knows exactly the way you were thinking because you train them on those particular aspects of your firm. So
yeah. I've heard it said once that you should only be spending your time on either the things that you're paid at the highest level or things that you're not paid at all. Right. And everything in between, you can delegate, you can manage, you can do that. So you should either be doing your highest like income producing opportunities, the things that only you can do, or you should be relaxing and doing the things that are leisure and enjoyable. And I think that was a good mindset shift for me is like, okay, I don't have to, you know, go do the mundane work that I don't really enjoy doing. The whole point is to grow to a point where your practice is profitable and you can, you know, hire people to do the things that you didn't have to go to law school for.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you have found for delegating or for just managing that expectation have helped you?
You know, I'm still struggling through this myself, actually.
What do you wish you could do then?
What do you mean? Like
yeah, just from like a delegation standpoint or a time management perspective, like what do you wish if you could just wave a magic wand, what would be different in your business right now?
I would definitely like delegate more. Like probably most of the time is my problem is like time. Usually a lot of time, but if I had a time to like, these are the tasks I have on my plate for the day and I made a Loom video for each one of them and just passed them off to my assistant or my team. And then they take those things and then turn those things into SOPs. That would be like the ideal situation. Like if I would have done that at the very beginning, rather than keeping it all up here, like I probably would be 10 steps further down the road than I'm currently am now, because now I would have had, you know, half my mind's worth of SOPs down on paper and my team would have been executing on them versus me keeping it up here for the longest time. So anyways, that's one thing I wish I would have done way earlier is I wish I would have been making looms, delegating it out to people at the same time, but not just delegating like, hey, do this. Like you want to say, hey, do this, but can you also make an SOP for this and archive it? So if we ever have to do it again, we have something to go back and reference.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it said once that every time you do a task for the second time, record it and then delegate it, right? So, because that means it's something that you're doing that's repeatable, that you do more than once. Any other tools? So you shared Loom, right? Are there any other tools that you use in your practice to help you be more efficient?
I mean, Loom's one of them. And another one that I just kind of stumbled across. So I have a really big problem with like multiple calendars. And I'm pretty sure every attorney's the same way. I have like a personal calendar. I have like my law firm calendar. I have my law hustle calendar. I have all these calendars that don't talk to each other, which was the biggest problem. So you would get double booked in places. You would be in a deposition and then you would, you get booked over here. So it was a big mess. So like the biggest thing that I came across was a tool called Motion. I don't know if everybody's heard Motion, right? It's a calendar tool, but it has task management built into it. So now what happens is all my calendars talk to each other. Everybody knows at any moment in time what my availability is and who can book into my calendar. And also at the same time, if people need to assign me tasks, they just assign me task and it automatically shuffles it into my day. So literally my calendar for the day becomes a to-do list. So I just go down the timeline. Okay, I got a call. Oh, I got to do this task. I got to do this task. And you just mark them off as you're going down the list. So it makes your day into an automated task list, if that makes any sense. So I know that I'm effectively using my time on a daily basis. It doesn't always go to plan. But it's there to keep me on track with the ultimate goals that I'm trying to achieve.
Well, and I think a bad plan is better than no plan, right? So like even an imperfect checklist is better than not making the checklist. So I think that's a really good tool. I think everyone should check out Motion and check out Loom if you've been sending video overviews to people on your team. So everyone check out Chris Lyle on his socials and also check out Law Hustle.